All right, so we're back to RSM 308, talking about marketing and sponsorships. And we were talking about sponsorships last time, and we were talking about the different types of sponsorships and different levels of sponsorships. And so in this picture, you can see some of the sponsors. You know, if you take a look at it, you know, what jumps out at you? What do you see once you get past the athletes? You see, you know, the naming company, Target, ACIC basketball, right? So right there's Target. And then you also see the presenting company with Nestle Crunch right there on the basketball, right there under the Target. You can see these sponsors on there and being a part of this event. And you want to make sure that you promote those sponsors and you get those sponsors seen. This is always nice to give back to the sponsor to show them, hey, look, this is what, you know, we promoted off of our event. This is our championship team for our women's division. And here is one of the girls holding a basketball that says Crunch on it right there. And then same thing with Target. Right there is your logo for that. Okay. And you can actually see it on the shirts there as well, that same logo. So it's, you're trying to, you know, let them be aware of, this is what people saw at the event, and this is what comes out of your sponsorship. Okay? So that when you go back and just kind of evaluate the relationship, this is something that you can highlight. Okay. So we'll move on from there, and now we'll get into the downsides. So it's not all a bed of roses when you look at sponsorships. Sometimes sponsorships can go awry and not work out the way that you hoped, and so it's always good to be aware of what the downsides are of the sponsorships. And thing that you have to be aware of, sometimes sponsors want to take control. They want to change the event. They want to control the sporting event. And you have to remember, this is my event, and this is my organization's event, and it's not the sponsor's event. And so even though they may feel like they're giving a whole lot, you know, you got to help remind them that this is still our organization, this is still our event. So you got to be careful, though, that they might try to control or change elements of it, and maybe sometimes get more than what what you agreed upon, because you don't want to give them more than what they're giving you, or more than what you agreed upon, because then next year that's the expectation. Okay, and it's going to be, if other sponsors hear about that, then they're going to expect that as well. Organizations become involved with and dependent on sponsors. So sometimes you'll see agencies that become, it seems like everything is open for sponsorships, and they give everything away to be sponsored, and really they don't have anything of their own anymore. They become more of the sponsor's organization rather than their own organization. So it becomes more about the Gatorade event than Coastal Carolina's event. And so that's what we kind of have to be careful of, and that we don't want to become seen as just, we're going to sell everything just to make that money. And sometimes you can see that in some of the sporting events now in colleges. Gosh, everything's for sale, you know. So I've even seen, you know, the so-and-so endowed coach. So the coach is actually, the position that the coach is sponsored by some corporation or some family, and it's just amazing. And so a sponsor can overshadow the event, and then sometimes we get over commercialized. It becomes more about making money than and selling off the products than the event itself. And so we want to make sure that we keep our focus on what the objectives are of that, whether it's, you know, youth development or whatever the case may be. So we just got to be careful becoming over commercialized in everything for profit. Cause-related marketing. This is one last thing I just want to leave you with. And cause-related marketing is where sponsors and sponsorships utilize a nonprofit cause. They want to tie themselves in with a nonprofit, so it makes their organization look better while they're making money, right? And so one of the first areas with that did this cause-related marketing, or we also see it corporate social responsibility is American Express. American Express worked with Ellis Island and the Statue of Liberty so that every time somebody used their American Express card, a certain portion of that money went to Ellis Island or the Statue of Liberty, and I think they raised $69 million to help renovate those sites. And so you can see, who is it? Tom Shoes. Every time they sell a pair of shoes, they give a pair to somebody in Africa. It's come about that corporate social responsibility. And so they like to tie in with nonprofits. They like to tie in with organizations. And, a lot of times we're a nonprofit. The events that we run, the activities that we provide, young people or senior adults. And so we can be aware of that and help use that to our advantage. Consumers' perceptions of corporate social responsibility can influence the beliefs about companies and products. So that's why they're doing it, right? If the consumer or if that corporation is bringing about some good through this marketing and giving back to others, then that helps change the perspective of a company. It's not all about them. It's not all about the bottom line. They're actually giving something back. And looking at with the CRM, the cause-related marketing sponsors, they spend about $1 billion a year on various sport properties. And so they're willing to use sport as an outlet to have this use cause-related marketing and that corporate social responsibility. So, $1 billion spent per year on that, that helps to gives us a good feeling that we might be able to tap into some of those resources and use those to help with our events. So just quick overview of marketing and sponsorships. I know there's some gaps in there, but hopefully with what you've had in 369 and other classes, you've tapped into that. But I just wanted to kind of give you a quick overview of marketing and sponsorships and how they apply to the sport realm and particularly recreational sport programming. So next class, we'll get into budgeting and looking at budgets and putting together a budget for your event. And then we'll move on. All right.